Every Blue Lock character excels in a main area that makes them unique. Isagi with his vision, Loki with his speed, Nagi with his trapping. Each and every character is given a unique weapon exclusive to them, which makes them an incredibly individualized and powerful character within the series. But out of every character and every weapon, if we were to steal their talent and combine them into one, could we create the strongest Blue Lock player in the history of the series? Well, in today's video, I'll be combining the attributes of characters to do just that. This video was inspired by my boy Raven Geeks, so go check out his video to see his creation of the best character. But because I don't want to copy his idea one-to-one, I'm adding some extra stipulations to make this video more unique, but I will reveal those later. Can I create the strongest Blue Lock character? Let's find out. Before I get into the video though, I want to leave a spoiler warning for the latest chapter of the Blue Lock manga, being chapter 314, and if you have not read it, I would suggest you click off this video now if you wish to not be spoiled. And lastly, join my Discord server. It's called the New Egoist Geeks, and the link to it is down below. Now for building this character, I'm going to be going off the Blue Lock New Egoist League stat sheet, and if you look at the stat sheet, there are a lot of categories to cover. And when it comes to the specific rules that I'm adding, it's going to make it a lot more difficult to create the best Blue Lock character. When it related to Raven's video, he was allowing free reign of any characters in the U20 category, excluding Loki, for selection as many times as he wanted to any specific category. But for me, I'm only allowing myself the use of one character a total of 2 times across every single category. Meaning if I pick Isagi for vision and for volley, I cannot use Isagi's attributes for any other quality in this video. So I gotta be smart with my picks. Starting off with the first category, we have kicking power, and there are a lot of good characters to choose from here. However, I believe the best pick for this category is Rensuke Kunigami. When it comes to Kunigami and his specialty when it relates to shooting, he specializes in taking power shots. Going from the first selection alone, his power shooting is what allowed for Team Z to score the only goal against Team X, and in a later game against Team V, his shooting power and technique led to a goal being scored from nearly 40 meters out. And after the wild card and the New Egoist League training, his strength has only improved. We see just from his physical capabilities alone that he was able to place third in the race against Bastion München's players, and in the game against FC Barca, his shots were exceptionally more powerful thanks to this training. Especially his hero's lefty, which led to his goal from Isagi's pass against FC Barca, winning Bastion München that game. So when it comes to kicking power, I think that Kunigami is easily the best option for this. Next up, we have long passing, and in Raven's video, I believe he took Hiyori or Rael because of their ability to copy Sai's passing techniques. But for me, the pick is pretty obvious. Why take a copy or someone close to Sai when you can have Sai himself? So for long pass, I'm going to be taking Sai Itoshi. When it comes to Sai's passes, he is undeniably one of the best playmaking midfielders and passers in the entire series. I mean, with a weapon specifically called Perfect Kicking Technique, it would make sense. Sai has the capability to control the intensity, angle, speed, and accuracy of his kicks to an extreme level at any given point in time. Not only is he able to consistently perform complex passes using his superior footwork and technique, but with his level of skill, he is also able to perfectly manipulate the ball to the point where his passes are easy to receive but hard to intercept or block. During the U20 game against Blue Lock, Sai was moving down the pitch before sending a pass as he was pressed by Chigiri. And at this point, Chigiri had commented that the pass was insane, credited to its distance being over 50 meters away, which is further than Kunigami's shot in the Team V game at 40 meters. This is, as far as I know, the longest confirmed pass we have ever seen from any character in the series. Other passers like Hiyori or Charles, while they are insane, are incomparable when it relates to distance. So I think it just makes sense to choose Sai for long passing here. Next up, we have 2 categories in one, but I'm lumping them together here because I'm choosing the same character. We have free kick and we have penalty kick. And this may be one of the more obvious picks, but I may actually need to explain. I'm going to be taking Michael Kaiser. Kaiser easily has the best shooting technique in the entire series, so having his Kaiser impact be a part of this player is the most reasonable thing to do. For free kick in the game against PXG, it was Kaiser who took the free kick against PXG, and it makes sense as to why he did. With his Magnus impact from a still position, Kaiser not only has the capacity to use it, but also increase the curve to it from that stance. Meaning not only can he make his Kaiser impact curve at insane speeds, but he also has been able to hit either corner with this curve technique to throw off players with high analytical ability like Isagi, for example, who attempt to block it or steal the shot. But since he's in a still position, the ideal spot for a Magnus, he can even use the Magnus impact as bait, scoring a straight and powerful bullet shot into either corner with his standard technique. He's also used the Kaiser impact as a pass, so in the instance that he wants to pass to someone with the Kaiser impact, he has the capability to do that. So having Kaiser on free kick just makes a lot of sense. And for penalty, this shouldn't even be a debate. A penalty kick is scored from around 12 meters away from the keeper. And in the FC Barca game, Kaiser's shooting technique allowed him to shoot so quickly and so fast that the Barca keeper, even 20 to 30 meters out, couldn't even move. Despite how close he is, which would eliminate the Magnus impact, his base Kaiser impact technique is all that is needed to score a goal from that distance. Like a point blank ranged Kaiser impact that has no motion or any kind of signal as to when he's going to actually kick, you're never stopping that. So for free kick and for penalty kick, I think that Kaiser is the best option. Now the next category to talk about is shooting accuracy, and like Sai and Kaiser, I think that this pick is pretty obvious. For shooting accuracy, I'm going to be taking Rin Itoshi. In the same way that Sai's unique weapon is perfect kicking technique, Rin's is perfect kicking accuracy. His shooting and passing accuracy is near perfect, as demonstrated when he kicked two balls in such a way that they travel different trajectories, yet still hit each other in midair. Isagi also implied that Rin could potentially score from anywhere below 35 meters, free kicks, and even directly from corner kicks. Basically, Rin's entire range for scoring covers around 35 meters, which is the same range for Kaiser's Magnus impact. In the U20 game, IQ notes that his power and accuracy decrease when he uses his left foot. However, Rin makes up for this ability by being incredibly precise with outside spin shots, seeing as he scored a Trivela during the match soon after. I do not think there is a single character in this series who has better accuracy feats than Rin without the use of a vision ability, and even then, I still think that Rin is better. Like, Kaiser can be incredibly precise with his shots, passing through 5 blockers before scoring a goal in the Manchan game, but that was assisted using Predator Eye. And now that Rin himself has shown that he can use this ability in the game against Nigeria, his accuracy and skill is only getting boosted even more. So yeah, Rin is the best option. Next up, we have the volley category, and I know what you're thinking, I should take Isagi because Isagi is by far one of the best volleyers we've seen in the series. I mean, it makes sense, his main way of scoring is through direct shots and through volleys. Hell, even his newest technique, the twin gun volley, is a volley. I mean, it has it in the name. And yet, despite this, I'm not actually taking Isagi. When it comes to what Isagi is good at, there are so many other qualities I would rather steal from Isagi instead of his volley skill. So I will actually not be taking Isagi, and instead I will be taking the second protagonist of the Blue Lock story, Seishiro Nagi. Now, I shouldn't have to explain why I'm taking Nagi for the volley category, but I will explain it anyways. To put it simply, the 5-stage revolver fake volley, be it irreplicable or not, is the greatest display of a volley technique that we have seen in this series, and will likely continue to be the greatest even until the series ends. Nagi's trapping technique with his 2-stage fake volley combined with his overall shooting ability and control can lead Nagi to hit consecutive feinted shots, resetting the ball's momentum every single time. Doing this repeatedly, he was able to surpass Kaiser, Isagi, and Gagamaru to create a technique that is considered to be a miracle and was considered by Blue Lock TV and the world as the goal of the century. Honestly, when it comes to direct shots and volleys, players like Isagi, Shido, and Nagi are all good picks, but I'm taking the latter for this category. Going into curve, there was only one real good answer, and that's going to be Rin Itoshi. Rin's entire specialty as a striker is curved shots, be it standard curves or opposite curves. Sure, he does have the capacity to shoot power shots, but his main element when it comes to his skill is his talent with curved shooting. I mean, going into his first display of talent, he lobbed the ball into the air and then sent another shot after it, striking the ball with a curved technique. The lob wasn't what was insane, it was the fact that his curved shot could make direct contact with the ball in the way that it did. I mean, even Isagi commented on how Rin's curved shots have such a beautiful arc and trajectory to them. And sure, while you have characters like Baro and even Yuki Miya who have curved shots as well, I feel like nobody outclasses Rin in this category. Going into opposite leg precision, I'm going to be taking a character that you may find weird, but just hear me out on this because it does make sense. I'm actually going to be taking Nijiro Nanase for this category. Now, before you flame me for taking Nanase as opposed to another good character who is ambidextrous, let me explain. Obviously, with characters like Nagi, Shido, Isagi, and Kunigami, they are all very skilled when it comes to their opposite leg precision. But if I were to pick them, it would limit me as to where I could choose them later in this video. If I use Nanase, there is not a lot of traits I would want from him over a different character, so I think he's a pretty safe pick. but technically I can kind of rig the system for him just based on specific wording. Going into his flashback with Rin, Nanase and him train together, and we see Rin take an interest in Nanase's passing ability. He then proceeds to say that in the little time that he has trained with his left foot, he's gotten close to his right leg skill. Meaning, by a rule of technicality, we're just taking his opposite leg precision, which in itself is just the skill that someone has with their opposite leg in relation to their dominant foot. And if I were to take Nanase's, affinity with his opposite foot as opposed to his dominant one, I could kind of word it and kind of technically arrange it so Nanase's affinity applies to whatever character I have for the right leg. I know it's a little bit wordy and it's kind of a technicality here, but technically it does track, and the opposite leg precision would apply to whoever's kicking power I took, which in this case, it would be Kunigami. So through specific wording, technically using Nanase as my pick here, I get an extra Kunigami pick for no extra charge. If you have an issue with that or disagree, I don't know, sue me, I make the rules for this video. The next category to talk about is short passing, and there are a lot of good characters to consider for this, but there's one obvious answer, and that is Corona Ronze. Throughout his entire NEO performance, Corona was used as a post player for Isagi, leading to the creation of the orbital resonance chemical reaction, or planet hotline for those who like to use the unofficial term. While Corona's short passing in and of itself is carried by his sharp turning weapon, I feel like there's not a lot of other characters who would compete with him in this category. Ryo using a Sai copy and Isagi are two very good characters when it comes to short passing, as we see from the planet hotline team up, but also Ryo's flow assault with Nagi against Vast Dimension. But like my reasoning for Nanase, there are so many other categories I would want to use Ryo or Isagi for, so I feel like taking Corona here just is the best option. So for short, Corona is the obvious choice. Going into long shot though, there are a lot of characters who I believe would be good for this category. However, I'm going to be using my second use of a character and take Rensuke Kunigami again. My reasoning for Kunigami here is essentially the same reasoning I used when I took Sai for my long passing category. He has the farthest recorded goal in the series as far as I can remember. Like I mentioned during the first selection in the game against Team V, Kunigami abandons attempting to score from his shooting range, instead firing a knuckleball from over 40 meters out. This shot then managed to weave the keeper and score the second goal against the undefeated team. And this was all the way back in the first selection. Some may decide that they want to take Kaiser or Rin for this category, however, through my research, I determined that their shooting range is only around 30 to 35 meters or so. While building up the Magnus impact, Kaiser stated that 35 meters was too far away to effectively score a Magnus, and in the second selection, Isagi comments about how Rin's range is around 35 meters, or the full 3v3 pitch size. However, in the 4v4 game, he says that Rin could not score from kickoff there like he did in the 3v3 game, so the 4v4 pitch was too much of a distance for him. Plus, with Kunigami's previous pick of power shots, I feel like picking a range relevant to the power shots just makes sense for this hypothetical character here. Now, the next category to talk about is centering, and by the description of centering, I'm assuming it just means like crossing to the middle of the field. And while a lot of people may choose Sai, Charles, or Hiyori for this category, I'm actually going to go a different route. I'm actually going to be taking Chigiri for centering. Despite Chigiri's entire development in the Neo Egoist League being the process of turning him into a goal scorer on the wing who doesn't need to pass, his ability to pass and provide crosses has actually improved significantly. When you look at how the 44 Panther Snipe in itself is described and created, it's actually just a pass that's formulated as a shot using Chigiri's natural centering technique to increase its precision. And when you look at the game against the former Japan U20 team, Chigiri was placed as a right side back as a crosser, linking up with Karasu and Atoya to create an opening to score. Hell, even in the more recent game against Nigeria, Chigiri was placed as a right side back again and was just shown to be used as a crosser, sending a no decel pass towards Isagi in the middle of the field. I feel like the fact that Chigiri's natural quality is his centering technique just makes him a very good pick for this category. Now, the next trait to talk about is stamina, and this one is also a fairly obvious one, so I don't really know if I need to go into it that much. But for stamina, I'm going to be taking Raichi Jingo. When it comes to stamina and having the ability to play at 100% efficiency for the entire game, not a lot of characters surpass Raichi. Tokimitsu is the only other character with the potential to move around the pitch at equal pace to when he started, as we see with his link-ups with Rain being used to compensate for his own drain in stamina. But with Tokimitsu's lackluster performance and locking off of BLUELOCK in the recent chapters, I'm not really interested in taking him. However, for Raichi, his stamina was put on full display, specifically in the Ubers game. After making a major gamble with Isagi, Yoichi uses his core strength and stamina to keep up with Snuffy, the person regarded by Noah as the best overall player in the world. Plus, with his ability to be moving at maximum efficiency even in the later stages of the game, it was incredibly effective in the PXG game, for instance, as Yoichi consistently charged for loose balls before feeding them to Hiyori. So I feel like Yoichi's stamina is definitely the best grab here. Next up, for acceleration, there are also a lot of good characters, but there's another one obvious answer. I'm going to take Tsurugi Zantetsu. While we don't get to see a lot of Zantetsu's speed or the increase of it since the first selection, there is some evidence to justify this pick. Zantetsu in the first selection was able to rival Chigity's mutation based on pure acceleration. While Chigity is faster at a distance at that point in the series, Zantetsu was faster within 50 meters, which, to be honest, seems vastly more important. Going into the PXG game though, we don't get to see a lot of Zantetsu or his speed, however we do see him quickly snatch the ball from Karasu and break down the pitch using his acceleration. Zantetsu's greatest quality for his acceleration is how fast he can reach top speed, and with another pick in the future, I definitely think that this is the safest option. Next up, we have just general speed, and I think that this pick is going to pair well with Zantetsu because I'm going to be taking Chigity's speed. Obviously, Chigity is the best pick here because he is the fastest character in the U20 category, excluding Loki. Loki is obviously the only character faster than Chigity, but we aren't allowing him, so it's fine. When it comes to Chigity, he is unmatched in terms of speed, being able to solo an entire team during the game against Bastard München by simply abusing his pace. His speed in the second selection was also the final piece Isagi needed to surpass Rin, and in the U20 game, his speed managed to break through Aiku's defenses. Combine that with Zantetsu's ability to accelerate and reach top speed instantly, you have an insane speedster. You could take overall speed like Zantetsu or even Corona's speed, but Chigity's is easily the best. Going into jumping or jumping ability, this answer changed with the release of recent chapters. Typically, I would pick Audio, as his jumping ability was the best in the U20 category and his ability to reach aerial passes was his main job on the Ubers team. However, thanks to the release of chapter 307, my answer has changed. I'm actually going to be taking Bunny now in place of Audio. While we don't get to see a lot from Bunny in relation to his ability over Audio, picking him over Audio just makes sense. During the game of FC Barter vs Chokure that Isagi was watching, we saw Bunny score a goal by jumping up to an incredible height to hit Lavinho's pass. Isagi himself even comments about how high Bunny happened to jump. Also, my other piece of evidence is just kind of tied to implication. Bunny is a new generation 11, someone with the same title as Kaiser, Sai, and Lorenzo. And for this, the only weapon that we see out of Bunny, or his most prominent one that was shown, was his jumping ability. So if the mangaka chose to show off Bunny's jumping ability and that's all we see from him, and the fact that he is a new generation 11, likely given that title because of his jumping ability, doesn't it make sense to just choose him for the jump category? And also, wouldn't it be fair to say that his talent surpasses Audio in jumping just by that logic alone? I believe so, which is why I'm taking Bunny for this category. Going into agility, there are two characters who I can think of that would be good for this category, however I'm leaning towards one of them. And that character is Corona Ronze. Corona's unique weapon is his ability to make such sharp turns at an incredible speed, which is what makes him such a reliable post player for Isagi. He can constantly change direction without losing speed, allowing him to receive and deliver passes before repositioning himself to do it again. And when it comes to the term agility, it just relates to your ability to maintain high speed while changing direction, which just so happens to be Corona's exact weapon. Another good character to pick for this category is Shido. As we see from the U20 game, his ability to dart around the pitch without losing speed is very impressive, but it just is not better than Corona. Before going into the rest of the categories, I want to remind you guys that if you are enjoying this video so far, to leave me a like and subscribe down below to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this. It costs you guys absolutely nothing and it helps me out immensely. Let's try and get to 25k subs before the end of the year. It's a big goal, but I think we can do it. And if you want to help me even more, if you were to become a member of the channel, you'd earn some awesome personal benefits like video requests and shoutouts on videos, but you would also get your name mentioned in the Blue Lock New World movie as a contributor to the project, and this also applies to leaving super chats. So like, subscribe, and become a member today to show your support for me and my content. Our next category is Kinetic Vision, and for this category, it's pretty obvious. I'm going to be taking Isagi. It's no shock to say that Isagi has the greatest vision in the U20 category, only being surpassed in the entire series by Mark Snuffy. Isagi's use of metavision and brain allows for him to see into the future, typically even more than other metavision users. Back in the match against the Japan U20 team, even without the use of metavision, Isagi was able to break through to a future that not even Aiku could see, someone who awakened Metavision a few minutes earlier. In recent games with his awakening of Omnivision, he's able to see even more than Metavision users like Hiyori or Kaiser can. There's really no debate that Isagi has the best kinetic vision in the series, and based on the track record of the series, I believe it's going to continue to be Isagi. Going into the next category, which is reaction speed, there are two characters who embody this incredibly well, Gagamaru and Shido. However, for this category, I'm going to be taking Gagamaru. When it relates to Shido, while he does have incredible reflexive ability, it's more or less just tied to his instinctual actions, which apparently are different as I'm being told. Shido instinctively goes to do something or prepares to do something, and it makes it seem reflexive, but it's just instinct. However, for Gagamaru, his reflexive action coincides with his ever-changing environments. During the U20 game, he was able to block Sendo's direct play with Sai, and was also able to stop Shido's shot with a handstand block. In the new Egoist League, he successfully was able to block the stealth kill shot, a technique that was unstoppable in every previous game of the tournament. Even more impressive though was his bear claw deflection, allowing Gagamaru to save a shot from Rin that was nearly over the line before he even made the dive. While Gagamaru's reflexivity does have some inconsistencies like with Shido's dragon header, I feel like he is still the obvious pick when it comes to this category. Going into power, there are a lot of characters you could argue to take power from. Baro, Kunigami, Raichi, really any physically dominant character is a good pick here. But for me, I'm going to be taking Aiku. Aiku's physicality and incredible physique allow for him to perform feats of strength that surpass just general physical duels. He can perform jumps comparable to Aryu despite being shorter by a couple of inches. He can win duels against players like Rin by leveraging his body's weight. And he can even do last minute saves, diving across the net to block stuff with a header like he did against Yukimiya's gyro shot. Plus, according to the Egoist Bible Volume 2, Aiku was ranked number 1 in relation to physical strength. Sure, that was before the new Egoist League, so no Kunigami, but we've already used Kunigami for both of our categories, so he's out. I do think Aiku is definitely underrated when it comes to physically dominant players, and with future and previous categories, Aiku's power and strength just feels right here. Going into balance, there is one character that I believe deserves this category, and it's Mikage Reo. When I interpret what the stat means by balance, I believe it's not just normal control over your body in unnatural positions, but just general control of your body in all circumstances. And for that, there is no better character than Reo. His entire style is founded upon his natural dexterity and balance, which allows for him to replicate the tactical plays of other blue lockers. The fact that Reo's entire arsenal of options for attacking or defensive patterns includes 99 copies of several blue lockers should be justifiable evidence to support his balance being legendary. Because like Kunigami said to Isagi, training in specific areas to improve one element has a chance to ruin your overall specs. So the fact that Reo can copy all of these different players without hindering his core style or other copies justifies this pick exponentially. Now when it comes to composure or just the overall attitude that a person has when it relates to the game, I could think of no better character for this category than Karasu Tabito. Karasu's mentality, while being analytical like any other talented learner, has an extra element added to it, which makes him the best pick for this category. That being his affinity for being fired up. While most characters feel more intense, desperate, or pressured while entering flow, Karasu's ultimate state of mind when he is fired up is actually when he's the most calm. Karasu's ability to feel calm in the more dire situations is what leads him to being more fired up. Meaning the more fired up he gets, the more calm and calculated he becomes. We see this in the episode Nagi manga. While being pressured by Nagi and Baro together, Karasu is able to set up plays for Otoya to score goals and also create strategies for the team to counter their opponent's attacking patterns. Some may consider his composure to actually be a negative due to his innate belief in him being mediocre. However, with his awakening and goal in the 4v4 game against Nagi's team in the episode Nagi's spin-off manga, Karasu broke through that mentality and embraced the idea that he is truly extraordinary. When it comes to keeping calm and staying fired up, Karasu is the best pick. Now for assertiveness, my mind immediately goes to how assertive can a player be with plays and overall involvement in the game. And while there are good characters like Nico, Raichi, and Karasu, I'm actually going to be giving this category to Lorenzo. Lorenzo's defensive style of active man marking results in him constantly needing to assert himself in consistent plays revolving around the ace, and even rush into key moments to stop plays from sparking into something more. During the Ubers game, Lorenzo spent the first half dedicating a man mark towards Kaiser. shutting down any opportunities leading into the second goal for Bastion München. After Snuffy subbed on until the end of the game, Lorenzo's style changed to actively pressing the opposing ball carrier or target man while also linking up with consistent passes. He was even the kickstarter for the majority of plays when Snuffy was on the pitch, being the strongest player on the Ubers team aside from Snuffy himself. When it comes to active play and involvement or assertiveness in this circumstance, I can think of no better character than Lorenzo. Now for the next category being condition stability, I didn't really know what it meant. Google described it as a player's ability to maintain equilibrium and control their body effectively across various game conditions, movements, and situations. Which to me just sounds like they're describing balance in various circumstances. And because of the pick for that category, we'll be taking the same one here. We're taking Mikage Ryo. The core elements of condition stability include balance, adaptability, core, and joint stability. And Ryo excels in all of these categories to a very effective degree. His dexterity and copying ability really covers the core and joint stability, and we already talked about the balance part, so that's pretty secure. As for his adaptability, Ryo's subconscious and likely future controlled understanding of metavision will cover that base. I mean, metavision allows for the user to understand the current conditions on the field and adapt to them as needed. It also enhances the user's inherent playmaking capabilities. While another character like Isagi would be good for this, I plan on using Isagi for a different category, so he's out. But for Ryo, he fills the role perfectly, so I'm using him here. Speaking of using Isagi, the next category is attack awareness, and we need Isagi for this one. The ability to involve yourself in offensive plays, creating scoring and passing chances for your team, along with the ability to read and direct the field are core elements of attacking awareness. And those qualities and areas are exactly where Isagi shines as a player. His metavision and omnivision allows for him to direct the field as he needs, and he can position himself in the most optimal spaces to create goal scoring chances for himself and others. He also is a reliable player to connect with on offense or defense when it comes to pushing up the field, which leads into plays with others like Kaiser, Yukimiya, and Hiyori to become successful. And that's not even talking about Isagi's greatest talent, the ability to awaken and enhance the talents and egos of others. Hiyori called Isagi's magic the ability to draw out the inherent egos of his allies and elevate them to a level beyond their own comprehension, which in turn helps Isagi evolve in the process. When it comes to attacking awareness, Isagi is by far the best in the series. Now on the opposite side of the spectrum, we have defensive awareness, and for this category, I'm taking Lorenzo. I mean, how can you even argue this? Lorenzo is the best defensive player in the series, confirmed to be the strongest U20 center back. When it comes to defensive awareness, take everything I just talked about for Isagi and transfer that over to Lorenzo because he essentially does the same thing. How well can you hold the defensive line, eliminate threats, and spark plays for your team? Lorenzo does all these things. Even going into his first stop against Kaiser without using metavision, Lorenzo was able to envision and predict Kaiser's play, something that not even Isagi was able to do with his metavision. Meaning going off of pure natural instinct and predictive abilities, Lorenzo surpassed a metavision user. There's really no other character who deserves this category more than Lorenzo does, so let's just move on. Going into coordination, this basically just describes characters who have great chemistry with each other, and there are a lot of characters you could pick for this category. But for me, I'm going to be choosing Hiyori. Hiyori is a playmaker who really has no issue working with others and has great compatibility with them. Be it Karasu, Nagi, Rin, Isagi, or Kaiser, Hiyori works with all of them to a pretty significant degree, and it works pretty well. As a whole for coordination, Hiyori was subbed into the U20 game as the playmaker for the team, sparking chemical reactions with Rin, Nagi, and Isagi. And before Rin stole the ball at the end of the game, Hiyori was trying to coordinate with the front line to find out what path to take to score. He really doesn't have an issue when it comes to coordinating with other players, especially with his new ego. His metavision also allows him to easily visualize the best possible route to take, but also allows him to position himself to link up with anyone on the team. When it comes to coordination, Hiyori is easily one of the best picks. Going into the next category, which is reaction speed, there are two characters who embody this incredibly well, Gagamaru and Shido. However, for this category, I'm going to be taking Gagamaru. When it relates to Shido, while he does have incredible reflexive ability, it's more or less just tied to his instinctual actions, which apparently are different as I'm being told. Shido instinctively goes to do something or prepares to do something, and it makes it seem reflexive, but it's just instinct. However, for Gagamaru, his reflexive action coincides with his ever-changing environments. During the U20 game, he was able to block Sendo's direct play with Sai, and was also able to stop Shido's shot with a handstand block. In the new Egoist League, he successfully was able to block the stealth kill shot, a technique that was unstoppable in every previous game of the tournament. Even more impressive though was his bear claw deflection, allowing Gagamaru to save a shot from Rin, that was nearly over the line before he even made the dive. While Gagamaru's reflexivity does have some inconsistencies like with Shido's dragon header, I feel like he is still the obvious pick when it comes to this category. The next category to discuss is tactical comprehension, which I'm just contributing to analysis of a play or just analysis in general. And there are a lot of good characters you could take for this category. Really, any talented learner is a solid pick. Isagi would be a great one, however he's already gotten used twice, so he's out of the question. So for my pick, I'm going to be taking Karasu Tabito. Karasu is one of the more analytical players in BLUELOCK, even within the realm of talented learners. Within the third selection, he was able to easily determine Shido's style and abilities from just a single goal scoring instance. In the U20 game, he was able to discern the strategy of the U20 team's defensive line and created a formula with Chigiri and Atoya to break it open. And credit where credit is due, this strategy would have worked if not for Sai Itoshi's involvement. Even looking at the Neo Egoist League, Karasu's involvement in plays and tactical analysis almost made him like a mini Lorenzo, targeting Isagi and Kaiser's individual plays and analyzing the key to their strategies. When it comes to tactical analysis, not a lot of characters outshine Karasu, so I'm taking him for this category. Going into trapping, there is only one obvious pick, and that is Seishiro Nagi. I mean, Nagi is by far the best trapper in the entire series, pulling off literal inhuman plays and techniques thanks to his trapping. His ability to control the ball no matter its speed, momentum, or power is actually insane. So much so many fans have actually speculated that he could even stop a Kaiser impact with it, assuming he was prepared for it to come. You could choose other characters like Haragi or even Onazi with the most recent chapters, but yeah, Nagi is the best pick, and if you didn't pick Nagi for this category, I don't know what you're doing. Going into ball control, you may expect it to be another back-to-back with using Nagi twice, but we can't do that here. So for this category, I'm actually going to be taking Ness. When it comes to ball control, not a lot of people give Ness the credit that he truly deserves for this skill. In the game against FC Barcha, Ness revealed his genetic mutation in his flexible ankles, which allowed for him to control the direction of the ball much easier than other dribblers. It allows for him to shift the direction on a dime, almost mirroring Karana's sharp turning if it translated to dribbling. I would honestly argue that Ness is one of the players with the best ball control in the entire series, and I feel like he is severely underrated in this category, which is why I'm taking him here. Going into heading, you would probably assume that I'm going to be taking Bunny for this category considering I took him for jump, but that's not what's actually happening here. I'm actually going to be taking Auryu Jubei for this category. While Bunny does have a higher vertical than Auryu based on speculation, Auryu has much more prominence with using his head offensively and defensively. In the second selection, he used his heading skill to intercept Bachata's pass to Nagi, and then again to receive Bachata's pass to score a goal. In the game against Ubers as well, Auryu used his heading skill to shut down Ness's lob pass to Kaiser, and even beat Kunigami to the ball in the later half with a header as well. Other good characters for this category include Shido, whose prominence with scoring dragon headers and attempts at it, such as in the U20 game, are evidence to show his skill in this category. But also, I know it's crazy, Iga Goody is not a bad pick here. We see him consistently use his head in important plays, and even during the 100 goals challenge, we got a peek at him using his head to score a goal. Considering the 100 goals challenge was tailored to each striker based on their qualities of scoring, if Iga Goody was scoring headers, then he must have an affinity for it. But overall, Auryu is the best in this category, so I'm taking him here. Going into dribbling, there are a lot of characters you could argue deserve this category. The Itoshi brothers, for instance, are two good picks, as both characters have the capacity to single-handedly dribble through teams on their own with their unique styles. However, because I've already used Rin 2 times and I could use Sai for a different category later in this video, I don't want to use either of them here. So I'm going to select a different character, that being Meguru Bachata. It's no surprise that Bachata was selected for dribbling, as he is easily one of the best dribblers in the series. His elastic dribbling was already broken before the Neo Egoist League, as his monster trance state allowed for him to solo the Iron Wall Quartet defensive line in a single play, and nearly score if not for Sendo's involvement. This makes Bachata one of the only two Blue Lockers to single-handedly destroy the Iron Wall Quartet by themselves. The only other person to do that being Rin in his flow state. Going into the NEL after his training from Lavinho to learn Jinga, Bachata was able to become one of the strongest players in the series when it relates to dribbling, solidifying it as such. Bachata was also credited as being able to score against the Ubers team, the most defensively fortified team in the NEL. However, we don't know the circumstances that led to that goal. All in all though, I think Bachata is one of the best picks for the dribbling category just based off of pure common sense. Going into tackling, this is the category that I wish I could take Rin for. Rin in Destroyer mode is honestly one of the better tacklers in this series, managing the ability to push its physical dominance over players in outrageous situations, all the while not drawing any fouls. His center of gravity full burst against Neo in the U20 game, and the constant crashing and tackling into Isagi and Kaiser are other examples of this as well. But since I can't pick him, I think Raichi is a good backup pick. Raichi is another physically dominant player, and with his incredible stamina, he constantly has rushed and involved himself in physical duels and plays. He's made contact with Zantetsu and Tokimitsu, and constantly fed passes to Hiyori through these plays. He's won in matchups with Corona and Hiyori in stopping rain, and he's a good all-rounder choice when it comes to physicality and ball stealing. You could also take someone like Kiora, whose small frame but strong core allows for him to control the lower part of a matchup, even winning duels against stronger or taller players, like Nagi for example. But I do think Raichi is the best out of the possible characters to choose from, so that's who I'll be taking. Funny enough, after talking about tackling, we'll be going into slide tackling, and for this category, there's not a lot of the characters to choose from. There's not a lot of characters who specialize in slide tackling throughout the series, so it's kind of hard to choose from. Chickadee, as we know, is a prominent slide tackler in the second selection against Rain and was actually given a yellow card for his constant sliding. And you could also argue Kiora and his ability to constantly move as a grounder specialist, attacking from a lower angle, but I think my pick is going to go to Zantetsu here. Zantetsu performed a slide tackle against Ness in the earlier stages of the game against Bastion München, and he also managed a slide tackle against Kunigami in the first selection, but that's really all Zantetsu has done. I would give it to Chickadee or Kiora, but from a lack of feats and my limit on picks, I'm going to give it to Zantetsu. Now for direct play and positioning, there are two categories here that I'm using the same character for, like I did for Kaiser, and that character is going to be Shido Ryusei. Going into direct play, I think aside from Isagi, Shido is the best direct shooter in the entire series. Excluding a few plays in the beginning of the series, all of Shido's goals have been scored using direct shots. His Dragon Drive and Big Bang Drive, for instance, are both direct shots which are credited as being his best goals in the series. And every goal we see from Shido in the Neo Egoist League seems to be scored without controlling the ball first and just taking a direct shot towards the net. So realistically, when it comes to direct shooting or direct playmaking, I think Shido is a good pick for this category. As for positioning, I think his off-the-ball movements are actually his greatest quality as a striker. Even without the use of metavision or enhanced spatial awareness, Shido has the ability to arrive at the optimal or most dangerous spot on the pitch. During the third selection, his intuition was able to match Rain's, resulting in a collision. And at the end of that game, Shido was able to intercept an aerial pass to Chickadee, which would have led to a goal. Shido's overall intuition is definitely high quality, so even though he doesn't have metavision, his positioning is still top tier, so I'm taking him for this category. For play of field vision, I'm taking a character that I chose at the beginning of this video. I'm taking Sai Itoshi. As of now, despite what people believe, Sai is a character that has not been confirmed with metavision. Izagi's comments about Sai refer to his playmaking capabilities, saying how he couldn't understand Sai's plays from earlier without the use of metavision. But he does speculate that Sai could potentially have metavision, but it's not confirmed. He makes a similar comment about Lorenzo in the Ubers game, questioning if he has metavision or not, so Izagi's word and speculation isn't always reliable. However, what is reliable is the field of play that Sai can read with his eyes. Whether he has metavision or not, Sai has the capacity to surpass even what Rain can see when he emulates Sai's thinking. This emulation even gave Rain a similar experience to metavision, and yet wasn't even close to what Sai was capable of seeing. He's also able to view over and move in to stop Isagi, a player whose vision surpassed Aiku, who was confirmed with metavision earlier in the game. And in the beginning of the game following his goal, he comments about how he could clearly see 3 opportunities to score during his assault on BLUELOCK's defense. Sai may not have metavision, but his field of play and what he can see is so high that it makes sense to take him for this category. And lastly, when talking about feinting, I do think that there are some good options. The obvious go-to is Himizu, as we see from his performance in the second selection. His feinting formulated his entire playstyle. His ability to feint was so good that he was actually able to beat Chickadee when it came to a one-on-one matchup, using constant baits and cuts to force Chickadee to run more, even almost forcing him to tear his ACL as a result. Of course, Himizu didn't know about Chickadee's ACL, however that doesn't change the fact that if Chickadee were to follow his feints, his ACL would have torn. However, for this category, I'm not actually going to be taking Himizu. His feinting playstyle wasn't even good enough to have him selected as a starter for FC Barca, only ever starting in the game against PXG, and even then, he didn't start again in the game against Manshan City. If his feinting skill as a whole isn't enough to get him selected as a starter, I'm not sure I want to give him the feinting skill for my character. But you know who does have a good feinting skill? Burū Rokku. Burū's style and techniques include a lot of feinting options, including the very prominent chop feinting technique, which we see used to surpass several high-level players. And as far as I can remember, Burū's feints have never been stopped in the series. It worked against Chigiri Kunigami and Ryo in the second selection, it worked against Darai and Hayate in the U20 game, and it worked in the NEL against the Bast Dimension defenders. I think that Bato's chop feinting technique surpasses anything that Himizu has done as of late, or even in the episode Nagi's spin-off manga. So I will be taking Bato Shoei for the feinting category. And that was just my creation for the strongest blue lock player. Now obviously this video was a long one, so I thank you guys for everyone who stuck through to the end. And while I did limit myself with this specific rule, I think I did pretty good for my character. But aside from that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and will continue to enjoy it in the future. I just want to say thank you so much to all the members of my channel who help support me and my content. And if you wish to earn some awesome benefits like they do and even get your name mentioned in the Blue Lock New World movie, become a member yourself and help support me moving forward. And just a final reminder to join my Discord server if you're ever interested in getting any more involved with our amazing community. As for the question of the video though, how would you construct the strongest blue lock character? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe to see more awesome blue lock content just like this.